I've lived here my whole life. You know what I've never noticed before?
A derelict skate park with a neon sign on the roof that says "Welcome to the Murderdrome."
Yeah, that.
And it was a short film. It got a little bit bigger, and we were going to do 4 5-minute episodes and make it some kind of web series. And we were thinking, yeah, this is cool, roller derby girls will dig it. That's great, we'll stick it online, then we'll see it. We promoted it heavily on Facebook, which was the way we organised the film. So that's the way we got in touch with roller derby girls and roller derby leagues and the roller derby community, and they sort of brought what needed to make the film happen. And through the course of generating all that sort of online hype, Monster Pictures heard of us. We phone tagged for a while, and eventually it was Neil. Eventually Neil's like, okay, we'll meet up for a coffee. We met up for a coffee, and like, you know, the first words out of his mouth were like, oh, tell us about your feature film. Of course, it wasn't a feature film, it was a short film. It was 4 or 5 minute episodes or whatever, but I just sort of went, okay, yeah, a feature film, let me tell you about that. And from there it became a feature film. We were looking for roller derby girls who were up for a bit of acting specifically. I was really keen on, I do this with all my films, because I kind of feel like we're a do-it-yourself operation, and if we were a band, we're a punk rock band, we're not Led Zeppelin. So you go for some kind of authenticity. Knowing it was going to appeal primarily to the roller derby community, I thought, well, it's got to be authentically from the roller derby community.
There is something I want you to see.
But at the end of the day, the only way I am able to do these films is because I've got a full-time job. So I'm unavailable I start work at 7 a.m. So from like 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. I'm at work Monday to Friday. That doesn't leave me a lot of awake time in the evenings to do much work either. So like the only feasible way to do it, because they're funded out of the money I earn actually working, is to shoot on Saturdays and Sundays. I produce now with a guy called Anthony Moran. He also puts money in, so he has a full-time job. He saves money. And then, honestly, the way you finance them is by asking people to work unpaid. It gets a mixed response because it is a do-it-yourself film, so if you don't have the stomach for like those drops in production values, some people will just never be able to see past that. The roller derby community's responded incredibly well, been really supportive, and we've like clubs around Australia have screened the film as fundraisers, and clubs across America and the UK have screened the film as fundraisers. We've probably been screened 20 or 30 times in America, but like I don't even know how many times. It's got a life of its own over there now. Every so often I'll get an email from our distributor going, oh, they're doing another screening over here. So I own the rights to the film. Then you go to someone like Monster Pictures, and you do a deal with them to license the rights to them. So the rights to screen the film and sell the film on DVD and to sell it online, and to exploit the film in any financial way, I've licensed to Monster Pictures. So they go out and sell it, After they cover the costs of releasing it, it also means it's their responsibility to make the DVDs, they do the artwork, it's their responsibility to pay a sales force to go out to JB Hi-Fi and say, buy this film, or wherever it's sold. That kind of stuff. So they take on all that load of work, which obviously costs something. And out of sales, once they've covered their release costs, which, I guess they vary, but like around about $10,000 to release a DVD. Once they've covered those costs, we get a percentage of all sales. So we get a license. There's a license. We get a royalty. Royalty is the word. And that's how you're theoretically making money through that model. It only works if you sell an absolute butt ton. But they gave us an advance on sales, because we hadn't finished the film when we did the deal, and they wanted it in a particular time period because they wanted it for Monsterfest, so it had to be finished on a particular date. And because I only work on Saturdays and Sundays, it's kind of like, I can't promise when I'm going to get it finished. And they said, well, does money make a difference? And so again, I just went, yeah, okay, money makes a difference. And they gave us an advance of a couple of $1,000, and I took a week unpaid off work to finish the film, and then we were able to kind of deliver it. So that's paid back out of our royalty. About 10 years ago, if the film was sort of gory enough and exploitational enough, you could probably get a reasonable kind of return on DVD. Like you could maybe make $25,000-$30,000 back. As DVD started to decline, there was actually a boost in cheap-ass DVDs. So people kind of, I don't know what they're doing, they're increasing their collection. But that doesn't exist anymore at all. DVD's almost completely dead. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how anyone makes money out of it. I mean, except for, the only thing that'll cut through and make money on DVD now is a big film that, everyone will go buy Mad Max on Blu-ray and DVD, for instance. So that'll sell 25 or 35,000 units across Australia. But other films are selling 20 units. I have a philosophy, it's called neopop. Grabbing a whole lot of things from the pop culture I love, which is from the 80s, so dodgy-ass sci-fi movies, dodgy-ass B-grade horror movies, because I kind of, again, my age, I remember when video stores didn't exist, and you'd read Fangoria magazine or Starlog, and there's all these movies in there that you've never heard of, and they've never come out here, and there's nowhere to see them, because even if they did come out here in the theatres, I'm like a 12-year-old boy, I can't go to an R-rated movie. And then video stores appeared, and the walls are lined with these movies. So I used to grab them all, like, Creature and Mutant and whatever, Hardware, all those dodgy-ass sci-fi movies, which are quite poorly made. They're the sort of movies I make, I suppose. They're low budget, but they're made for a specific market. And there's lots of elements of those that are kind of laughable to most people, like the way they treat science, or you touch a computer and you can just take over all the traffic lights, or that kind of stuff, or nanobots turn you into something like these simplistic kind of ideas. So when those types of movies are done in a contemporary setting, normally they're kind of a spoof, or you're making fun of that kind of stuff. But with neopop, what you do is you take those elements and you go, I love these, I'm going to take them seriously, and I'm going to put like a character through the middle of that who we treat in a modern kind of way. So the character's got 3 dimensions or whatever. Character's got a character arc and an emotional kind of journey. You can look up Adam Ford's Neopop Manifesto online, and he can explain it far more intelligently than me. You take roller derby, which if you were going to make a film about roller derby would probably be a sports movie, and then you take a slasher movie, which is a horror movie, and you put them in the same movie. You've got 2 things from separate genres working in the same movie. So what is it, a sports movie or a slasher? But you combine the 2 into something that's kind of original. So professional wrestling would kind of be a sports movie, and then you take a zombie action movie and put that in there and combine the 2. So the next one's like a 50s delinquent film with a dodgy B-grade Italian sci-fi. The core of the story is it's a sort of 50s style rebel without a clue delinquent story, a couple of girls who are like anarchists, and then in the middle of that a she-ball crashes to Earth and other stuff happens. It's an exercise in continual compromise, but what you've got to kind of do is work out where your compromises are going to be ahead of time, so you can come up with a style choice that puts it more back in your control, and you'll never execute a film that you're happy with. You could keep working on it forever. In fact, as soon as you've finished it, the first thing you want to do is go back and start again and do it properly.